come and join us here as well. In Spiritus activities, we always begin with prayer. And now at this moment I'd like to ask you all to join me for our opening prayer. Today, we learn the and we thank you for the opportunity of being here, together with his friends and to join us. We know that the teachings, learning is very important, and we hope that we all here today will learn something from it. We ask for your presence here, and for the presence of our friends, of the spiritual world, our benefactors, our guardians, those who come and follow us, helping us in our lives, to help us tonight, making it something peaceful, and with eternal feelings around us, joining our hearts, our minds, to benefit from His next message. We ask for your protection, for your love to be here with us, and helping all those who are here tonight. Now, with these feelings of gratitude, of happiness, for these moments we are about to share, we ask permission to begin this teaching tonight. As I said, it is an important evening, and we have a very special guest here to join us today, to give us a talk. That is Mr. Divaldo Franco. He is native from Brazil. He was born in Salvador, in the state of Bahia, in Brazil. And for over 50 years now, he's been working with the Spiritist doctrine, both in Brazil and in many other countries around the world. Among his many achievements in his lifetime of work, he has published more than 126 books, and is still very active in this area. The books cover a great range of topics, which goes from moral teachings to all sorts of other things that are important in our everyday lives as human beings. He also is the founder of the Mansion on the Way in Salvador, which has housed and educated hundreds of children and helped many other people in the society, the community in which it has been established. He also travels a lot. He's visited more than 53 countries and thousands of cities in those countries, giving talks, conferences, seminars, to bring not only the Spiritist doctrine, the Spiritist teachings to those places, to people who are interested, but also teachings of life that can be useful and beneficial to everybody from all sorts of belief, from all walks of life. Well, I'm sure that in the package that we have distributed when you came in, there is more information about Divaldo and his work, as well as about the Spiritist doctrine and the newly formed Sheffield Spiritist Study Group. And I will not delay this very long, but there are people, members here of all sorts of many places in London, many groups in London, and here in Sheffield as well. And I'm sure you will talk amongst yourselves and introduce yourselves later on, but I would just like to point out that there are representatives of many different groups here tonight who came to join us. The conference today will be, as announced, the life and evolution of spirit, body and spirit, and the focus will be according to the Spiritist doctrine. So it is going to cover a number of points which is of general interest to all of us, I'm sure. And I'll pass the word to Divaldo now. We will hear. Thank you.
Senhoras, senhores, jovens, boa tarde.
Ladies and gentlemen, young people, good evening.
Lamento profundamente não falar o belo idioma inglês.
I am very sorry I cannot speak the beautiful English language.
Isso não será dificuldade o que nos faremos entender através da nossa intérprete.
But that will not be a problem because I will make myself understood through my interpreter.
E ademais eu falo o idioma internacional do amor.
And furthermore, I speak the international language of love.
Conta-se que numa bela oportunidade,
If there is a story about a beautiful opportunity,
filósofo materialista caminhava por uma praia.
a materialist philosopher was walking along a beach,
E ao longo da praia ele havia encontrado milhares de estrelas do mar.
and along this beach he had found thousands of starfish.
À medida que o dia ia se tornando mais forte,
And as the day was getting longer,
as estrelas do mar iam morrendo.
the starfish would go dying.
Depois de caminhar um largo passo,
And after going for a long distance,
ele encontrou uma criança que, a cada momento,
he found a child that at each moment
pegava uma estrela do mar e jogava novamente no oceano.
the child would pick up one of the starfish and throw them into the sea.
Ele observou durante alguns instantes
He observed this for some minutes,
e perguntou à criança:
and he asked the child,
"Que fazes?"
"What are you doing?"
Ele disse: "Bem, eu estou salvando estas estrelas do mar."
And the child said, "I am saving these starfish."
E o filósofo materialista lhe disse:
And the materialist philosopher said,
"Isto é uma loucura.
"This is madness,
São milhares de estrelas do mar no infinito desta praia.
for these are thousands of starfish in the infinite of this beach.
E cada uma que você salva não vai fazer a menor diferença."
And each one that you save will make no difference."
A criança sorrindo pegou de uma estrela do mar,
The child, smiling, picked up a starfish,
jogou sobre as águas e disse:
threw it to the sea and said,
"Pode ser que eu não salve todas,
"It might be that I don't save all,
mas para esta fará uma grande diferença."
but it will make a great difference to this one."
O grande objetivo da vida não é salvar a todos,
For the great objective of life is not to save everyone,
é fazer alguma coisa que torne a vida mais digna.
but it is to do something that makes life more dignified.
É provável que nem todos consigamos as nossas metas,
It might be probable that we don't all achieve our objectives,
mas é muito importante dar início às nossas metas.
but it's important to start them.
Certamente muitos irão perder o seu próprio caminho,
Certainly, many would lose their own pathway,
mas cada um a quem nós apontemos a estrada,
but for each one to which we show the way,
para esse fará uma grande diferença.
to that person, this will make a big difference.
Vivemos um momento de grande tecnologia e ciência.
We live at a time of great technology and science.
A criatura humana saiu da Terra,
The human being has left the earth.
acompanha o nascimento de novas galáxias,
It observes the new galaxies being born.
trabalha na engenharia genética,
He works in genetical engineering.
promove a virusterapia
It can promote virus therapy
e tenta comunicação com outros astros do nosso sistema.
and tries to communicate with other bodies in our system.
Mas apesar dessa admirável contribuição do pensamento científico,
But despite this great contribution by scientific thinking,
a criatura da Terra ainda sofre.
the human beings on earth still suffer.
Existe muita dor,
There is a lot of pain,
muita insatisfação.
a lot of insatisfaction,
E essa mesma inteligência que tenta salvar muitas vidas
and this same intelligence that tries to save many lives
é responsável também pela morte de muitas vidas.
is also responsible for the death of many lives.
Então se pergunta, o que é a vida?
So we can ask, what is life?
Para a filosofia, a vida tem um sentido idealista.
For philosophy, life has an idealistic meaning.
Para a sociologia, a vida nada mais é do que a reunião.
Sociology, life is nothing more than a reunion of people.
Para a biologia, a vida é uma aglutinação molecular
For biology, life is the agglutination of molecules
com uma fatalidade automática.
with an automatic fatality.
Tudo aquilo que nasce, se desenvolve e morre.
Everything that is born, develops and dies.
E a vida humana?
And what about human life?
Os filósofos definiram a vida humana sob vários aspectos.
The philosophers have defined human life under many angles.
Para Sócrates, a vida humana era a busca do ideal.
For Socrates, human life was a search for an ideal.
E a criatura humana era constituída de dois elementos.
And the human person was made up of two elements.
O não ser, que era o corpo,
The non-being, which was the body,
e o ser, que era o espírito.
and the being, which was the spirit.
Segundo Sócrates, quando o não ser desaparecia,
According to Socrates, when the non-being disappeared,
o ser então surgia glorioso.
then the being would come out in glory.
Mais tarde, Aristóteles acrescenta o terceiro elemento,
Later on, Aristotle puts on a third element,
que é a intelectia.
and he calls it the intellectia.
Enquanto floresce o pensamento idealista,
as the idealistic thoughts flourish,
surge o conceito atomista da vida humana.
the atomistic view of life appears.
Para Demócrito Lucrécio,
For Democritus and Lucretius,
a vida humana nada mais era do que o resultado de 3 elementos.
human life was nothing more than the result of 3 elements:
O átomo,
the atom,
o vácuo e o movimento.
the vacuum, and movement.
Quando esses 3 elementos se organizavam,
When these 3 elements were organized,
surgia a vida.
life would appear.
Quando algum deles se desconectava,
When one of them was disconnected,
a vida se desagregava.
life would fall apart.
No Ocidente, nós temos aí a raiz das 2 correntes de pensamento.
In the West, we have here the root of these 2 schools of thought:
O pensamento espiritualista,
the spiritualist thought
o pensamento materialista.
and the materialistic one.
Do Oriente, nós recebemos uma grande contribuição mística.
From the East, we had a great mystical contribution:
O pensamento do Vedanta,
the thoughts from the Vedantas,
do budismo,
from the Buddhism,
do livro dos mortos,
from the books of the
o
dead,
pensamento egípcio
the Egyptian
e
thoughts,
uma tradição de imortalidade.
and a tradition of immortality.
Destaca-se especialmente a contribuição da Bíblia,
And particularly, we have the contribution of the Bible,
a história do povo de Israel,
the story of the people of
a
Israel,
sua legislação
their laws,
e a grande revelação.
and the great revelation.
A revelação da Bíblia anuncia o Messias.
For the revelation of the Bible says that Messiah is
E esse
coming.
Messias, quando chega,
And this Messiah, when he comes,
ao invés de atender às exigências políticas da sua época,
instead of dealing with the political interests of his time,
traz uma promessa de vida para a criatura.
he brings a promise of life for human beings.
E Jesus se torna a personagem mais debatida da história.
And Jesus becomes the most discussed character in history.
Ernesto Renan costumava dizer,
Ernest Renan used to say,
é o pensamento mais poderoso da humanidade.
it is the most powerful thought of humanity.
Ele foi tão grande que dividiu a história em 2 partes.
For he was so large that he divided history into 2 parts.
Depois da sua existência,
After his existence,
o seu pensamento foi a Roma,
his thoughts went to Rome,
expandiu-se pelo Ocidente
and they spread around the West,
e surgiram várias ramificações da sua doutrina.
and many branches of his doctrine were developed.
Desde o pensamento católico,
From the Catholic way of thinking,
ortodoxo grego,
to the Greek
o
Orthodox,
copta,
to the
o
Coptic,
egípcio,
to the
o
Egyptian,
ortodoxo russo.
to the Russian
E a
Orthodox,
partir do século XVI, com Martinho Lutero,
and as from the 16th century with
a
Martin
grande
Luther,
revolução do protestantismo.
we have the great revolution of Reformation.
A partir do século XVII,
As from the 17th
a
century,
filosofia libertou-se da ignorância.
philosophy was freed from ignorance.
E Lord Bacon estabeleceu
And Lord Bacon said,
uma filosofia superficial,
a superficial philosophy
conduz o pensamento do homem ao materialismo.
takes man's thoughts to materialism,
Mas uma filosofia profunda
but a deep philosophy
leva o pensamento do homem ao espiritualismo.
takes man's thoughts to spiritualism.
Necessitamos de uma proposta religiosa, dizia Bacon,
Bacon would say that we need a religious proposal
que possa enfrentar o cientificismo.
that can face science.
E essa realidade somente foi possível
And this reality was only possible
a partir do fim do século XVIII,
at the end of the 18th century,
quando Erasmo, Buffon e outros
when Erasmus, Buffon, and others
estabeleceram a necessidade de entender a evolução.
established the need to understand evolution.
Até então se aceitava a proposta bíblica,
Until then, the proposal from the Bible was accepted,
a criação da alma e do corpo simultaneamente,
the creation of the body and the soul at the same time,
a proposta de Adão e de Eva,
the proposal of Adam and
o
Eve,
povoamento da terra,
the population of the earth,
a destruição pelo dilúvio,
the destruction by the deluge,
o repovoamento.
and the repopulation.
Mas os pensadores do fim do século XVIII,
But the thinkers of the end of the 18th century,
fazendo uma análise biológica
doing a biological analysis
e as várias transformações das camadas da terra,
and the various transformations of the different layers of the earth,
puderam ler uma história da evolução.
were able to read a story of evolution.
Nas várias camadas da terra
In the many layers of the earth,
estavam heranças fósseis.
we could find fossil
E
inheritances.
no ano de 1807,
And in the year of 1807,
João Batista Lamarck publicou a sua filosofia zoológica.
John Baptist Lamarck published his zoological philosophy.
Para ele, a vida não começou com Adão na terra.
For him, life didn't start with Adam on earth.
Adão não teria sido um indivíduo,
For Adam wouldn't have been an individual.
teria sido uma raça.
He would have been a race.
A raça adâmica que teria aparecido em vários pontos da Terra.
This Adamic race that would have appeared on several points of the planet.
Mas isso não havia aparecido de uma vez.
But this had not happened at once.
Houve vários fatores que aprimoraram o corpo.
For there were many factors that contributed to the improvement of the body.
E Lamarck propunha duas teorias.
And Lamarck offered two theories.
O fator filogenético
The phylogenetic proposal
e o fator mesológico.
and the environment factor.
Ele dizia que através da hereditariedade,
He said that through inheritance
do meio ambiente,
and the environment,
houve várias adaptações orgânicas.
there were many adaptations, many organic adaptations.
Desenvolvimento biológico,
A biological development
desenvolvimento intelectual.
and an intellectual development.
Foi, no entanto, em 1859
It was, however, in 1859
que a sociedade cultural experimentou grande choque,
that cultural society had a great shock
quando Charles Darwin publicou a sua teoria evolucionista.
when Charles Darwin published his theory of evolution.
Para Darwin, a evolução tinha características especiais.
For Darwin, evolution had particular characteristics.
Ele não podia conceber
He could not accept
que o ser humano fosse uma criação à parte.
that a human being was a separate creation.
Através dos seus estudos, ele observou
Through his studies, he was able to observe
que houve todo um processo de transformações
that there had been a whole process of transformation
e que o homem nada mais era do que o resultado de uma mutação.
and that mankind was nothing more than the result of a mutation.
Darwin fez pesquisas antropológicas,
Darwin carried out
paleontológicas
anthropological and paleontological research
e biológicas.
and biological one.
E conseguiu constituir toda a historiografia da criatura humana.
And he was able to establish all the history of the human being.
Desde as primeiras cadeias de açúcar
From the first links of sugar
até os símios.
until the monkeys.
Ele apresentava os antropóides como o estado mais evoluído daquela fase.
He would show that the anthropoids were the most evolved part of that zone.
E escolheu várias raças de antropóides
And he chose several races of anthropoids
para estabelecer de onde tinha surgido a criatura humana.
to establish where the human being would have come from.
3 raças foram elegidas:
3 races were chosen,
a de Chancelete
the one of Chancelet
e de outros.
and others.
Ele preferiu estudar a partir daí.
He preferred to study us from there.
Quando o antropóide tinha as mãos que vinham até as rótulas,
When the anthropoids had hands that came down to their knees,
e quando a caixa craniana estava começando a desenvolver-se.
and when the space for the brain started to develop.
Ele fez toda a história da árvore evolutiva,
He did all the history of the evolution tree.
chegou ao homem de Neandertal, do período carbonífero,
He arrived at the Neanderthal man of the Carbonific age,
e dali ele deu um grande salto,
and from there he gave a big jump
o Homo sapiens,
to the Homo sapiens,
deixando uma lacuna.
leaving a space.
Ele não pôde encontrar na paleontologia
He could not find in paleontology
a herança fóssil daquele ser primitivo e do ser que pensa.
the fossil inheritance of that primitive being and the thinking being.
Isso passaria a história da antropologia como sendo o elo perdido.
This would go into the history of anthropology as the missing link.
Darwin não teve tempo de dar prosseguimento às pesquisas.
Darwin did not have time to continue with his research.
Mais tarde, Alfredo Russel Wallace
Later on, Alfred Russel Wallace
chegou às mesmas conclusões.
came to the same conclusions.
Peculiarmente,
Particularly,
Alfredo Russel Wallace
Alfred Russel Wallace
havia realizado experiências com William Crookes em Londres
had carried out experiments with William Crookes in London,
e havia chegado a uma conclusão muito especial.
and he had come to a very important conclusion,
A vida imortal.
that life is immortal,
A criatura humana não é apenas um corpo.
that a human being is not only a body,
A criatura humana é também um ser espiritual.
for a human being is also a spiritual being.
E o Wallace fez esta declaração.
And Wallace said the following:
Eu era um materialista tão convicto e tão completo
I was such a complete and convinced materialist
que na minha inteligência não havia lugar para uma existência espiritual.
that in my intelligence there was no room for a spiritual existence.
Mas os fatos são poderosos.
but the facts are powerful.
Os fatos mudaram a minha ordem de pensamento.
The facts have changed my way of
Sou
thinking.
espiritualista
I'm a spiritualist,
e o espiritualismo venceu o meu ceticismo.
and the spiritualism has overcome my skepticism.
Alfredo Russel Wallace propôs
Russell Wallace
que em
proposed
todo esse mecanismo da evolução,
that in all this mechanism of evolution,
o psiquismo também se desenvolveu.
psychism was also developing,
E naquilo que seria o elo perdido,
and that in which would be the missing link,
que Darwin considera uma mutação,
that Darwin considers as a mutation,
houve algo que não pôde ser detectado.
there was something that could not be identified.
Façamos uma pausa.
Let's pause for a moment.
No ano de 1857,
In the year of 1857,
foi publicado em Paris um livro revolucionário,
a revolutionary book was published in Paris,
que se chama O Livro dos Espíritos.
and it's called The Spirit's Book.
Esse livro é assinado por um grande pedagogo
And this book is signed by a great pedagogue
que adotou um pseudônimo.
that took on a pseudonym.
Ele se chamava Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rivaio
He was called Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rivail,
e passou a adotar o pseudônimo de Allan Kardec.
and he took on the name of Allan Kardec.
Era a época das mesas girantes,
It was at the time of the turning
dos
tables,
vários fenômenos que distraíam a sociedade.
of the several phenomena that were distracting
E
society.
o professor Rivaio era um livre pensador.
And Professor Rival was a free thinker.
Esses fenômenos estiveram aqui na Inglaterra
These phenomena also happened here
e
in
parece
England,
que entraram pelo porto de Southampton.
and they seem to have arrived by the port of Southampton.
Divertiu a sociedade de Londres,
They engaged the society in London,
atravessou o Canal da Mancha
and they crossed the channel,
e chegou a Paris.
and arrived at Paris.
Paris era a cidade da futilidade.
And Paris was the city of futility.
Dizia-se que uma ideia começava de manhã,
You would say that the idea began in the morning,
envelhecia ao meio-dia,
it would get old by midday,
morria de tarde.
and would die in the
E
afternoon.
de noite ninguém lembrava dela.
And by the evening, nobody could remember what it
No dia
was.
seguinte tinha que ter uma nova ideia.
The following day, they had a new idea,
Mas aquele fenômeno continuou.
but the phenomena continued.
Era o chamado fenômeno das mesas girantes ou falantes.
This was called the phenomenon of turning or speaking tables.
Tratava-se de uma mesa
It was a case of a
com
table
um tampo de madeira redondo,
that had a round wooden top,
uma haste central
a central stem,
e três patas.
and three legs.
Por isso era chamada a mesa das três patas.
And that's why it was called the three-legged table.
Essa mesa conseguia agitar-se sem contato humano.
And this table could move without human contact.
E quando se colocavam as mãos,
And when you put your hands on it,
parecia adquirir sensibilidade.
it seemed to acquire some sensitivity.
Entre 1852 e 1855,
Between 1852 and 1855,
nos grandes saraus da sociedade,
in the great parties of
o
society,
divertimento era a mesa.
the great enjoyment was these tables.
As pessoas formavam um círculo,
People would sit in a circle.
eram convidadas algumas jovens para pôr as mãos sobre o canto da mesa.
Some young ladies would be invited to put their hands on the top of the table,
E a mesa agitava-se.
and the table would agitate.
Se acreditava que era eletricidade,
They thought it might be electricity
magnetismo
or magnetism
ou simplesmente fraude.
or even fraud.
Mas a mesa era curiosa.
But the table was very curious,
Ela respondia através de sinais a perguntas que lhe eram feitas.
for it would answer by signs questions that could be asked.
Uma pancada sim,
One rap yes,
duas não,
for two no,
três talvez,
and maybe three,
possivelmente.
perhaps.
E as perguntas eram banais.
And the questions were very simple.
Normalmente as moças indagavam:
Usually the young ladies would ask,
eu vou me casar com esse namorado?
will I marry my boyfriend?
E os rapazes perguntavam:
And the boyfriends used to ask,
eu vou fazer fortuna?
will I be very rich?
Ainda hoje todo mundo quer saber disso.
Until today, this is what everybody wants to know.
E hoje as moças não são muito preocupadas em casar.
But perhaps nowadays the girls are not so worried about getting married.
Mas pelo menos tem um companheiro.
But at least they want a partner.
E ainda perguntam.
But they still ask.
E a mesa divertia a todos.
But the table would entertain everybody.
Era a época do magnetismo.
It was a time of
E um
magnetism.
grande magnetizador disse ao professor Rivaio, que também era magnetizador,
And a great magnetizer told Professor Rival, who was also
que
magnetizer,
agora se podiam magnetizar as mesas.
that you could now magnetize the tables.
O professor Rivaio considerou aquilo muito ridículo.
Professor Rival thought it was quite ridiculous.
E o amigo insistiu para que ele fosse ver.
And the friend insisted that he go and see it.
Ainda mais quando o amigo lhe disse:
And furthermore, when his friend said to
O
him
mais interessante
that the most
é que as
interesting
mesas magnetizadas dão respostas.
is that these magnetized tables give answers.
Com seu temperamento druida,
With his druid temperament,
ele disse é impossível.
he said this is
Porque
impossible.
uma mesa que não tem cérebro nem nervos
For a table that has no brain or nerves
não pode pensar.
cannot think.
Eu somente acreditarei quando vir.
I will only believe it if I see it.
E o amigo o convidou para ir ver.
And his friend invited him to go and see.
Ele ficou do lado, observando.
He stayed beside, having a look,
E percebeu que realmente a mesa tinha lógica.
and he realized that the table had logics.
Tinha que ser fraude.
So it must be a fraud.
Porque aquela mesa não podia pensar.
For the table could not think.
Na mesma oportunidade ele perguntou.
At the same time he asked,
Não é possível
it's not
que
possible.
uma mesa que não tem cérebro nem sistema nervoso possa pensar.
It's not possible for a table that has no brain or nervous system to be thinking.
E a mesa respondeu através de pancadas.
And the table answered by knocking.
Porque alguém tinha tido uma ideia.
Because somebody had an idea.
Ia dizendo o alfabeto.
They started saying the letters of the
E a
alphabet.
mesa produziu o som na letra que queria.
And when they got to the letter that the table wanted, the table would make a knock.
Então formavam palavras,
In this way they could put words together
formavam frases.
and they could have phrases.
Diante dessa pergunta,
And with this question,
a mesa respondeu.
the table answered,
Não é a mesa que pensa.
it is not the table who thinks,
Somos nós,
it is us,
aqueles que vivemos na terra.
those who have lived on earth.
A morte não nos destruiu.
For death has not destroyed us.
Isso causou uma grande surpresa ao professor Divaldo.
This caused great surprise to Professor Revile,
Ele não aceitava a possibilidade da sobrevivência da alma.
because he didn't accept the possibility of the survival of the soul.
E se propôs decifrar aquele enigma ou descobrir a fraude.
And he challenged himself to find the fraud or to find out what was really going
Ele
on.
voltou várias vezes.
He returned many times,
E notou que os jovens tinham mais facilidade com a mesa do que os adultos.
and he realized that the young people were easier with the table than the elderly,
Particularmente 4 mocinhas de 15 anos aproximadamente.
and in particular 4 young girls around the age of 15.
O pai de 2 delas
The father of 2 of them
falou-lhe que havia vivido na Martinica,
told him that he had lived in Martinique,
uma ilha de possessão francesa na época,
an island that belonged to France at the time,
e que ele havia feito perguntas à mesa
and that he had asked questions to the
e
table,
possuía 58 cadernos de respostas.
and he had 58 copybooks with the answers.
Colocava à disposição do professor Rivaldo,
And he was putting this, making them available to Professor
como também
Revile,
permitia que suas filhas ficassem à sua disposição na casa dele próprio.
and he was also putting his daughters and making them available to Professor Revile in his house.
O professor Rivaldo começou a frequentar a casa desse senhor que se chamava Baudin.
And Professor Revile started to go to the house of this man who was called Baudin,
E começou a fazer perguntas à mesa.
and he started asking questions to
Ele
the
era
table.
poliglota,
He could speak many
falava
languages.
5 idiomas.
He could speak 5
Fazia
languages.
perguntas em alemão.
He'd ask questions in German,
E a mesa respondia em alemão,
and the table would answer in
em
German,
latim,
in
em
Latin,
inglês,
in English,
em espanhol.
in Spanish,
E a mesa respondia no idioma.
and the table would answer in the language.
Ele começou a fazer perguntas mentais.
He started asking mental questions,
E a mesa respondia.
and the table would answer.
Ele pediu a amigos que fizessem perguntas, guardassem um envelope.
He asked friends to make questions and put them in an envelope,
Ele colocava sobre a mesa.
and he put the envelope on the table.
Nem ele sabia qual era a pergunta.
Not even he knew what the questions
E a
were,
mesa respondia.
and the table would answer.
Quando abriu o envelope,
When he opened the
era a
envelope,
pergunta.
he could see the question.
Foi assim que ele se interessou durante 2 anos,
So during 2 years, this is the way he became interested.
ao fim dos quais
And at the end of this
ele
time,
publicou o livro dos Espíritos.
he published the Spirit's book.
Mas este método era muito monótono.
But this method was very monotonous.
Ele percebeu que a pessoa irradiava uma energia,
He saw that people irradiated an energy,
e que era essa energia que movia a mesa.
and it was this energy that moved the table.
A essas pessoas ele chamou de médiums,
And these people he called mediums,
porque eram os intermediários.
because they were the intermediaries.
E depois de pensar longamente,
And after thinking deeply,
ele pegou uma pequena cesta de vinho,
he took a little basket,
colocou um cordel e um lápis,
he put a piece of string and a pencil,
e pedia que os médiums colocassem a mão sobre a cesta.
and he asked the mediums to hold on to the little basket.
A cesta flutuava,
The basket would float,
o cordão ficava interessado,
then the cord would be hard
e o lápis escrevia.
and the pencil would write.
Ele, depois de meditar, percebeu que essa energia
After thinking, he realized that this energy
podia sair diretamente da pessoa para o lápis.
should go straight from the person to the pencil.
Ele eliminou a cesta,
So he took away the basket,
colocou o lápis na mão das pessoas
he put the pencil in the people's hands,
e surgiu a psicografia.
and psychography was born.
Então ele agora fazia perguntas muito mais complexas.
So now he could ask much more complicated
E
questions.
graças a isso,
And thanks to that,
ele soube de uma coisa curiosa.
he discovered something curious.
No ano de 1856,
In the year of 1856,
uma jovem que era médium
a young lady who was a medium
escreveu-lhe uma carta.
wrote a letter to him,
E na carta estava dito:
and in the letter it said,
eu lembro-me de você.
I remember you.
Faz 19 séculos que nós vivemos aqui na França.
It's been 19 centuries since we lived here in France.
Mais ou menos na época de Júlio César, o imperador romano.
More or less at the time of Julius Caesar, the Roman Emperor.